at PGA National going down on Sunday afternoon when he was going down the back nine. Rory McIlroy had the chance to win, big chances to win. He was trading odds on across the exchanges like it was going out of fashion, but he blew it big style going down the stretch. Now, it doesn't mean he won't win this week, and he's got a decent record at Doral, but he's seeing a completely different Doral this season. The project they've put in place here has been pretty amazing. Donald Trump has bought the golf course, is obviously remodelling it into a truly world-renowned resort course with a hotel and everything, as is his wont. But they've remodelled the course in 12 months, and that's an exceptional piece of work, it has to be said. Some courses take 2-3 years to remodel, but this one, they've remodelled it in 12 months since the 2013 tournament. What have they done? Well, it's all a bit of a mystery, really, but we know that it's a Gil Hans redesign. He's pulled it together. We know that they've added 150 yards to the course, so where it was around about 7,350 yard par 72, it's now above 7,500 yards. We know that they've added even more water to the course, so it's now featuring 14 of the holes are featuring water, which of course is a real Florida course characteristic. And we also know that they've done a lot of work to actually add some sculpture into the course. So there's actually some elevation changes where before it was very, very flat. However, it is still a resort golf course. It's still got particularly wide fairways, but Florida's been slightly damp recently, and we know that when they relay turf, especially on the greens, they're still Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass greens though, so it's the same kind of grass. They're likely to be quite soft. So Paul Williams thinks that it's actually going to be quite a low scoring affair this week, but you've got to be a long hitter. It's really important that you can bang it at least 290 yards off the tee. Now I'm going to take you through this week's WGC Cadillac Championship predictor model. Don't forget, golf betting system, that's where we're at, the website. Type that into Google, into Bing, into your search engine on your phone. You will find us. We have predictor models, statistical models that you can play with yourself, but we publish a model. Fantastic tool where a lot of stats are available, and you can mould long lists of players, 69 this week, into a more manageable list for your selections. Now, I'm going to take you through this week's top 10. Okay, it didn't contain Russell Henley last week at 300 to 1. You won't be surprised. 10, Webb Simpson, 40 to 1 with Sky Bet. 9, Justin Rose, 35 to 1 with Paddy Power. 8, Harris English. He's 35 to 1 with Bet365. A very, very talented, very on form at the moment. 7 is Zach Johnson, 33 to 1 with Bet365. 6, Charles Schwartzel, 40 to 1 with Paddy Power. 5 is Keegan Bradley, 28 to 1 with Sky Bet. 4 is Sergio Garcia, 20 to 1 with Paddy Power. 3, the very informed Bubba Watson, 25 to 1 with Bet Victor. 2, Dustin Johnson, 18 to 1 with Bet365. And Rory McIlroy, 15 to 2 with Paddy Power. He's the favourite. You've also got Adam Scott, Tiger Woods. It's loaded. Justin Rose. 69 of the best players in the world this week. So McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, Sergio Garcia, Keegan Bradley, they round out the top 5 in this week's published predictor model that Paul Williams has pulled together. Okay, now let me quickly take you through Paul's tips. I'm just actually going to also just find out for us in terms of bookmakers special offers this week at the championship. It's they often go extended places, but of course it's a short. Yeah, they've only gone 5 places each way across the board. They've also done that in Puerto Rico. 69 players, it's difficult for the bookmakers to extend the value to 6 places each way, and sure enough they haven't this week. Okay, let me take you through Paul's tips. He's gone for 5 this week. Very, very interesting. As ever, he's based quite a couple of his tips around the main top 5 in the predictor model this week. So, how about this? 2 points each way, 18 to 1, bet 365, Dustin Johnson. Johnson's a very interesting character, isn't he? In terms of form at the moment, he's got to be the most informed player in professional golf right now. Second here in 2011. He's won 8 times on the PGA Tour. I've seen stats that if you back him every week across since 2008, you'd be well up. And listen to these stats. First in greens in regulation, first in birdie average, first in par fours, second in par fives, first in scoring average. He won the last WGC stroke play event at Shashan back in November. Dustin Johnson, he is as long as you like, and this new course format is likely to suit him. 2 points each way, 18 to 1 with bet 365. Next up, a player that I've been sticking close to recently, and Paul is again this week. 28 to 1 in a non-major, very, very tempting. Phil Mickelson, a point each way at 28 to 1 with Betfair. It's a new course to everyone this week, and last week, of course, he was one of the older guys going to PGA National for the first time, and he was at a distinct disadvantage. One thing, though, that was very notable last week, Phil is still hitting fairways, 75% of fairways hit. Again, he was in the top 15 for fairways hit last week at PGA National. Again, though, his putting hasn't been great of late, but his greens in regulation let him down last week on a new course. But this week, everybody is at the same distinct disadvantage. No one has real course information and course knowledge. And that can suit someone that's as mercurial as Phil Mickelson. The course is likely to be slightly soft as well. DJ loves soft golf courses, like soft greens, and so does Phil Mickelson. We will never forget the way that he took apart TPC Scottsdale last season. So Phil Mickelson, 1 point each way at 28 to 1. Obviously, he won here in 2009 and he's also top 5 last year at Doral. So he likes Doral. Florida golf courses aren't usually his thing, but he does like Doral. So Phil Mickelson, he's Paul's second tip. And then Keegan Bradley, his best mate, 1 point each way at 28 to 1. I mean, Phil's best mate. Again, 1 point each way at 28 to 1. Both of those with Betfair Sportsbook. He's getting it together, isn't he, Keegan Bradley, slowly but surely. A very long hitter. He's got 2 top 10s at Doral in his 2 appearances here. And his new coach, Chuck Cook, starting to bed down. And they're working on the short game. Very, very interesting at PGA National last week. Hit 2 very low rounds and then got into the lead very close to home going down the stretch last week and then capitulated. If he'd actually parred out from about the 7th hole, he'd have won the golf tournament. But Bradley then went backwards and he hasn't been in real contention for a while. But listen to this for a World Golf Championship record. 15th, 16th, 8th, 1st, 23rd, 7th, 2nd, 4th. You can tell he likes a WGC, plays well at Doral, and he's playing well within himself at the moment. He's commented in a lot of his interviews that he's playing the best golf he's ever played. So Keegan Bradley, a point each way at 28 to 1 with Betfair, matching Phil Mickelson, a point each way at 28 to 1. Both with Betfair Sportsbook. Don't forget, you can also use Betfair as a sportsbook, as a bookmaker. Then Paul is going for 2 longer shots at 90 to 1 and 150 to 1, respectively. And it's interesting to read here that actually 9 players have actually finished in the places here at above 80 to 1, I believe, which is a pretty formidable amount. And that's what a statistic, and that's what Paul's going after. So he's going half a point each way at 90 to 1 with Stan James. Chris Kirk, don't really need to go into that tip. We all know that Kirk's heavily par 72 biased, very, very much Bermuda green biased, and he's playing decent golf at the moment. Went in a bit of a lull after the birth of his second child, but again, top 15 at PGA National last week. Great core stats. So Chris Kirk, half a point each way at 90 to 1 with Stan James. And then George Coatsey, half a point each way, 150 to 1. Fresh off his... that's actually, again, with Stan Jones, fresh off his first European Tour victory down in South Africa. Doing some real air miles at the moment. South Africa, then he went across to Arizona, then he's gone back to South Africa last week, and now he's in Florida. He's chasing a major, that top 50 in the world ranking so that he can attend Augusta for the 2nd year running. He needs a world top 50 place, and that's why he needs to be playing well right now. And the fact of the matter is, Coatsey, who's formidable on bent grass greens, he's playing brilliantly on Bermuda greens at the moment. Get this, he's topped the putting averages in Abu Dhabi when he finished 4th there back in January. Then he went to Qatar And he actually finished again. He topped the putting average category in Qatar when he finished 5th. So topped the putting both in Abu Dhabi and Qatar, finished 4th and 5th. So these greens should really, really suit him at Doral, these Tiff Eagle Bermuda greens. So George Coatsey, half a point each way, 150 to 1 with Stan James. Chris Kirk, half a point each way, 90 to 1 with Stan James. Then we've got Keegan Bradley, a point each way, 28 to 1 with Betfair Sportsbook, with Lefty, a point each way, 28 to 1 with Betfair Sportsbook. And Dustin Johnson, 2 points each way at 18 to 1 with Bet365. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes to take you through my Puerto Rico predictor model and also my tips for the week. Top 5 of the predictor model. Let's run you through the 10 actually. Jerry Kelly, great tip this week, 61 with Sky Bet. Jonathan Bird, 100 to 1 with Paddy Power. Cole Peterson, 80 to 1 with Bet365. Ryo Ishikawa, 40 to 1 with Stan James. Michael Bradley, 150 to 1 with Paddy Power. He's won it twice in the past. Matt Jones, 22 to 1 with Bet Victor. We've then got Scott Brown, defending champion, 51 to 1 with Bet Victor. Chris Stroud, who tops the markets, 20 to 1 with Paddy Power. Bit short, I think, Chris Stroud off the tee this week. George McNeil came very close to picking him, 25 to 1 with Paddy Power. And Brian Stewart, 25 to 1 with Bet365 is the number 1 predictor model pick. So Stewart, McNeil, Stroud, Brown, Jones. It isn't a particularly great tournament, 7,500 yards. It's another Donald Trump resort course. Paspalum greens this week, interesting. So they use the sea water off of the nearby coast to feed the greens. My tips this week, I've gone for 5. Half a point each way, 100 to 1 Hudson Swafford, Bet365. 1 point each way at 50 to 1 Chesson Hadley, that's generally available. A point each way at 45 to 1 Robert Carlson, a quality act in a field of this depth, Bet365. 1.25 points each way at 35 to 1 Andres Romero, 20th in 2012, then 6th here last year. Found the putter last week when he topped 12th at PGA National. He's with Bet365 at 35 to 1. And 1.75 points each way Brian Stewart, 25 to 1 with Betfair Sportsbook. Those will be my tips. Just fancy those 3. The tournament, I've got to say, the field this week is slightly down on previous Puerto Rico renewals, especially last year when there's some half decent names there. And the betting market is very, very tight. Big named players